enough for the 3 points. Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero!
What's up, football fans? It's another episode of The Football Therapist. First of all, Haytham, bravo ragazzi. Second of all, Olympics, no one's watching. And third of all, a lot of stuff is coming up with the season kicking off in a couple of weeks. And that's why we're all here today. So sorry, guys. Me and Haytham and Yehia were having a little discussion right before this about the Olympics. And I think that's why it got us into the mood. But first of all, guys, thanks again for joining. It's another episode. And first thing we're going to definitely dig into is the Euros, because we actually finally got Haytham to have some time to get onto the podcast again. So Haytham, first of all, Mabruk. And second of all, your initial thoughts on that Euro victory for Italy.
Well, I mean, I feel like I'm being interviewed as the manager. But like,
okay, you can do the same to me when Real Madrid win the Champions League this year. But
right?
How does it feel to actually win it yourself?
Exactly, right. No, I mean, so Italy had a great group stage. So I'm just going to kind of walk through Italy's tournament in a nutshell. We spoke about it in the previous podcast, saying that Mancini has has put in this breath of fresh air to the Italian squad since he took over from Ventura's disastrous reign of not qualifying. Before that, you had Conte's bizarre call-ups in 2016, punching above their weight, even. So there's been a lot of disappointments before that in the World Cup. I won't go too far back, but I mean, the last performance,
you did not qualify for,
yeah, there was that, and the World Cup before that, even where Italy and England, by the way, both crashed out of the group stage, if you remember. And before that, there was Euro 2012.
It's been a series of heartache.
Euro 2012. I think Italy reached the final. And they were really tired, and they lost 4-0 against Spain. So I think this is a really, really great redemption. They had a solid group stage, won 3 games out of 3, scored lots of goals in the group stage. They attacked. They surprised the hell out of me. I never expected any of this. Surprisingly, Ciro Immobile did not. Top the scoring charts like he does with his club, but I mean, that's all right. He's got a Euro medal at the end of the day. But I was very surprised that he was not topping the scoring charts. There was a bit of a tricky knockout game with Austria, which honestly, I think if Arnautovic's goal had stood, Italy were done.
That would have been a different story, to be honest. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but Mancini won the extra time battle, so good for him. He won the tactics there, and the credit to him for that. But he messed up the starting 11 in the beginning. He shouldn't have gone into the game like that. Locatelli didn't even start, while he did have a good impact in the group stage. I'll skip on to the final and just say that the first 45 minutes, honestly, I was feeling England all the way. I thought England are going to go with this. I mean, their confidence was sky high. They were bossing the game. They got that early goal, and Italy were just completely ineffective. And they were just unable to create anything, and I just thought it was done. They're at home, it's in Wembley, and the whole media's with them. So, but Bonucci's goal changed everything, and Italy got it in the end. I mean, penalty kicks, Donnarumma, heroics.
That was quite the display from Donnarumma, I must say. It's something about like goalkeepers called Gianluigi from Italy.
It's Italian. You know what? It's Italian goalkeepers. If there's one thing that Italy produces consistently on a world-class level, it's defenders and goalkeepers. And speaking of defenders, Bonucci and Chiellini have finally sort of redeemed themselves on the European stage. I'm so happy for them. In fact, they're the two players I'm happy for the most. They've had a couple of European failures with Juventus.
Yeah.
European finals against Real Madrid that night in Cardiff. That's when Bonucci, that was probably the tipping point apparently for Bonucci and previous clashes with the current manager who just took over again, Allegri. Forced him to leave the club eventually, and obviously he came back and he took the captain's armband at Juventus, and he was extremely outstanding in the Euros, and I'm very, very happy for him.
Well, he's not going to be getting it now. We'll touch up on that later. Apparently, there's a little bit of drama coming from Allegri.
Yeah, there's some drama coming up soon.
Yeah, I do want to touch on a little bit on what you said. So from my perspective, and it's time to give credit where credit is due, because we always tease each other. I shit on Italy all the time, but it's finally, I really must say, I wouldn't say it's a bit much to say that they played the perfect tournament, but they definitely got off on the right foot. They took an approach which they had not taken in previous years, and which obviously was not working for them. And you could immediately see the difference. First of all, the tendency to play a bit more of attacking football, while they've tended to be historically a lot more defensive and playing on the counter, maybe, I don't know. But it was really enjoyable to see them mesh like that. And it was really also interesting to see the breakout of Spinazzola in this tournament, because he was absolutely fantastic. Amazing tournament for him. And the only thing that I could safely say was reminiscent of Italy teams of the past was Immobile pretending like he was injured, and then when they scored he got up and ran and celebrated as if nothing happened. So I had to throw it in there. Sorry.
I mean, that has to happen.
That was absolutely hilarious. But so here's the thing. I think when it came down to eventually to the semifinal against Spain were just done by then. They had played 3 extra times in a row. And it was just it was just not going to end any other way. It was Italy's from there on. In the final itself, I agree with you. There was a big dominance in the early stages from England. It seemed like it was going to be an early end to the game, but that's the Euro final, and that's what's lovely. That's what's amazing about football. It can switch in a heartbeat, and they just really took them all the way to the end. And then at the end of the day, penalties is a lottery. One thing,
and the mental impact, I'm sure the impact of the equalizer really sort of deflated the English for a while, and that kind of gave the Italians the upper hand for a bit. So
now that you mention it,
I was just going to say, you're a bit quiet. We want to know what Yehia thinks.
Yeah, because I'm listening to you, but you know what? From now that you mention it, I think I just realized that, ironically speaking, this tournament, yes, Italy were playing attacking football, very, very tactical, because Mancini wasn't it's not your typical Italian team, right? Where it's defense first, just make sure you're solid defensively, and then you'll go through, be hard to break down. And if anything, ironically, England was that kind of classic Italian team this tournament. And I think, to Italy's credit, it's not often that the best team offensively or the best team in general wins these tournaments. It's usually the most defensively sound.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't concede until, what was it, the semifinal?
Until the semifinal. I don't remember how many from Denmark, but that was, I think, the first goal
after extra time
in the tournament.
It was 2-1 after extra time.
By the way, I'm not really taking a dig at England here, but there's always that onus that, Italy are defensive and England sort of attack. But, so you look at this game, you look at the final, you look at I think it was World Cup 2014, the group stage in Brazil. Italy beat England 2-1. So Italy were attacking in that game, and England were defending. Euro 2012 as well, that Pirlo penalty moment against Joe Hart. That whole game, Italy was attacking. By the way, it ended 0-0. But Italy were attacking for
Yeah, but
120
I mean,
minutes
in
almost, and
general,
England were defending. So
in
it's
general,
actually kind of
Italy,
interesting.
in general, Italy is a defensive team. In
Oh, they
general.
are. Yeah, I'm
You
not
know,
saying they're
of
not.
course, against some teams they are more attacking and so on, but in general they are. And I think that's the best thing. I mean, the only other team I can think of that was attacking and won the tournament was Germany in Brazil and Spain when they won the Euros the first time.
Hmm.
Other than that, the team is usually either defensive or in Spain's case, they just hold on to the ball. So
Yeah.
it's a nice because you know the stereotype would have been had England won. Oh, in order for you to win tournament, you need to be defensively sound and so on. But the fact that Italy won, it's showing no, you don't have to do that. You just have to have a proper game plan and trust in it, which is what
Yeah.
Italy did.
Yeah. And, you know, it really makes for enjoyable viewing, to be honest. Like, from a neutral's
Okay, yeah.
perspective, it was fun to watch. We were enjoying those games. And I'll say it flat out. Spain really bored me. They really disappointed me. It was just not enjoyable. The one player that was really I enjoyed watching was Pedri, and Barcelona have a gem in that kid. But other than that, I just felt like nobody on that Spain team could be ours to even do anything.
I mean, Spain really feel as if they're still stuck in the late 2000s.
I just think that I think
all of the other
Enrique,
national teams have evolved one way or another, but Spain are just still, you know, like the same, you know, possession football, keep passing the ball until an opening shows up. But I mean, if you look at all of the clubs worldwide, nobody really plays like that anymore.
Yeah, and the thing is that I did feel that Enrique was trying to like still stick with the Tiki-Taka that worked wonderfully for him in the past, but the players on that team are not meant to be playing in that system. Okay, so with the exception of the ones who are used to playing it, like Busquets and Jordi Alba and Pedri to a certain extent, but he's still new. When you look at like Oyarzabal and Dani Olmo and Ferran Torres, they all just seemed really disjointed when in that system. They would hold on to the ball too long because in some cases, and you'd see the runs being made, and then they just wouldn't play it back. It was not a system that worked for them. And the fact that you didn't have these players who were able to retain possession, like as a really tough skill, like Isco and Marco Asensio, like I'm saying the Madrid players because I know how they play, but I'm sure there are others as well. It just didn't work for me. I was watching, I said, yeah, maybe they're gonna crawl into the later stages, and they literally crawl to the later stages like 3 extra times in a row. You can't sustain that. But yeah, I mean, look, that was just a little aside on Spain, but kudos to Italy. Excellent tournament, really fun to watch. It was really fun Euros, and it was obviously, I think we were all jazzed up.
I don't know if you guys also realized about the Euros, but one of the best things was there was so much counter-attacking happening.
Yeah.
And very, very quick transition football happening. It was beautiful to watch. Even the teams that were playing defensive football, it was still fun just because 1 second they're defending, next second they're trying to get a goal on the other side.
Yeah, there was a lot of end-to-end action, a lot of box-to-box games.
Awesome. I loved it. A lot of games that didn't really have high scores, just that end-to-end made it extremely exciting. This Euros, honestly, was extremely good.
It was one of the better ones. It was one of the better ones. I want to just say one thing though, and this is something that I do feel needs to be said. Posted it on the Facebook group, and I do want to touch up upon it just a little bit as well in the podcast itself. Is just a shame about the aftermath of what happened with Rashford and Sancho, and especially Bukayo Saka, with the outpouring of racism that followed from what happened. And the one thing that I just really want to touch upon, and I just hope that, you know, this message does get across, that is that I hate keyboard warriors. And obviously, if you're a bigot on top of that, it doesn't really make for proper viewing. But what that kid did, 18 years, 19 years old, whatever he is, to step up and take the deciding penalty in the final of the Euro with your nation's hopes hanging on your shoulders, with all the pressure of it's coming home, it's finally now, it's this one. For him to just tell the coach, yes, I will step up and take that penalty. Honestly, fucking massive balls, man. Kudos to him, respect to him. And he's never going to hear this podcast, but I would like to say that good on him, because what he did took much more courage and took bigger balls than any of these, racist bigots who go on the keyboard and type about really horrific things. I saw some of the messages and it's just horrible. And so kudos to him. And it's a shame that we're still having situations like this ruining this game that we love so much. And
I
just want to put that out there.
Ironically, when all three of them missed it, I immediately knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
That's the sad part of it, right?
Yeah,
it's you expect it now.
That is the first thing that popped into my mind.
Yeah, it is sad.
Which is sad.
Yeah. But I mean, you know what? Not a traction that followed after. Sancho's at United, so he got a little bit of a move, change of scenery for him. And Saka did get quite a good, nice. You would see that nice outpouring of support that came for him after that. So that's always uplifting to see.
Yeah, I think nevertheless he's got a huge future ahead of him. Very talented kid.
Yeah,
and I hope he doesn't break from it or something. I hope it doesn't impact him negatively or affect him negatively performance wise, or
hopefully it doesn't.
The football community has rallied around him, his club has rallied around him, his coaches, his peers and everything, the players, opposition players as well. So
it's just sad. There's some really horrible.
It's it's horrible. I hate it when that kind of stuff happens.
We
could also talk about Morata and Morata's wife.
I was just gonna say
he also put out a message about that. It's just immature.
People
be happening.
People threatening his wife, threatening his kids who are really young, and I don't know, maybe I get a little bit more defensive about it because I'm also a father, and I put myself in this position. If somebody said that to me about my kids, I'd want to kill him. What the hell,
Yeah.
It's just it's sad. There's still people out like that out there in 2021, and it comes back to education. It comes back to. But there definitely needs to be a stand made, and the clubs need to support it. The clubs need to take action. They need to not just skate over to say, just let it go, No, action needs to be taken.
Yeah.
But anyways, so that was our emotionally charged segment of the podcast. But you know what? Yeah. Now I think it's a good segue to go into, we're approaching the new season, and there's been some really interesting transfers, particularly out of Real Madrid. Do you guys like the New Jersey, by the way? I really like it.
It's nice.
Yeah, I really like the season jersey.
Nice.
Yeah, I usually deviate away from the white one, but I really like this one. And it was, by the way, birthday gift from the wife. So
nice. Happy birthday.
Did you buy it because Steven Gerrard's Rangers just beat Madrid?
I knew he was going to bring it up. I have no idea what this season is going to look like. I think this is the most change I've seen in one season ever. So look, for Madrid, you can lose a big player like Ronaldo and then say we're going to go through a transition. You could lose key element players. But right now, with the Varane deal confirmed to Manchester United, it's the club has lost its best center-back pairing, and cornerstone of all of 18 titles or whatever it was that Varane has won in one window. So that center-back pairing, that cornerstone, is gone. I know Alaba's really good. I know he's very versatile. I know Militao and Nacho did really well at the tail end of last season, but is it going to be sustainable? It's just going to be a very big change, one of the biggest changes this year. Now, the only thing I can think of is I hope to damn hell that if you're going to let Varane and Ramos go, so you freed up Ramos's salary and you got some funds for Varane, that better be because you've got a solid plan to get Mbappe in there. You know what I mean? So I'm just waiting to see if that happens. Because if we end up losing them and not signing anyone, I don't know. Like, it's putting too much faith.
Is going to happen next year. I really don't think it's going to happen this summer.
Then it's putting too much faith in the idea that Hazard is going to be healthy. Plain and simple. Or that Vinicius is going to suddenly
based on
mature.
what you're saying, your problem is defensive. It's not attacking, no? Like, attacking, pretty much, your players are still the same.
It's putting faith in that the positives from last year continue. So mainly Militao and Nacho doing well. Alaba is a good versatile player. He can play in central defense and he can play on the wing and a bit up front. But it's also really banking a lot on the fact that you need these guys to keep performing. You need a healthy Hazard, and you need the youngsters start stepping up a bit, because you've got Modric sort of getting older and getting, So it's a lot of putting faith.
To be honest, with very nice leaks that have been coming out with Perez, which we've been laughing at because they're more bizarre than than anything I've ever read. He probably has something up his sleeve to make the fans forget about all of the amazing things he said.
The Perez leaks were here's the thing.
Those were amazing.
But you realize the only player who spoke about it was Figo, and he said, we talked about it and he apologized and I knew about it and it's water over the bridge. But none of the other players spoke up about it. Which is weird.
Yeah, why would they?
Yeah. But speaking of which, PSG's team has...
But there were no consequences from these leaks. Sorry.
No. Not yet, at least. But if there is a backlash that comes with it, it's kind of trying to discredit him. So the theory is that it's UEFA behind it, trying to discredit him for the Super League thing.
Oh my god!
Super.
Wait, let me find my conspiracy hat somewhere.
Super conspiracy theory.
Yeah, my foil hat.
Okay.
Oh man. Foil hat. It's not aliens.
I mean, you're absolutely right. This year, so far, the teams that have done really good business are PSG, obviously.
Yeah.
And they brought in Wijnaldum, they brought in Ramos, they might be bringing in Pogba, but that's under doubt.
Yeah, Hakimi.
United are doing amazing business. But then again, I don't know how well everything will work out for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, United is one of those teams that, I'll just say it. I really don't think Ole is that great of a manager, to be very honest. And I know it's a lot of people say, oh, he's done a lot of progress, which he has, but he's taken a team that finished, I think, second with 80 points, and then led them the next season to 60-something points, let's say 62. Then it became 65 the next season, then 70, then 72. It's you're progressing year on year, but you're not progressing on where you were before with an arguably better team.
Yeah.
So I don't know. If he is progressing, so maybe this will help, but I still don't feel he is. He definitely isn't, let's say, an elite coach. If, let's say, Tuchel was managing United, I'd be scared.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that it is Ole that is managing, it's they'll probably do good, but not really win anything.
Despite the fact that they've shored up 2 major weak points for them. So bringing in Varane and bringing in Sancho.
Every year they make some amazing signings, and then it doesn't really. It pans. The last big signing that I can think of that really panned out for them was Bruno Fernandes, right? Obviously he's a success for United, but they still haven't won anything with him.
Mm-hmm. But don't you think that their issue was more their inconsistency and the injuries in central defense, which they've plugged in now? So now with the pairing of Varane and Maguire at the back. That's as much as you'd want to shit on
Look,
Maguire.
on
That
paper,
is a solid
that's
pair.
that's what I'm
know?
saying. On paper, they are one of the top teams. On paper. But at the end of the day, I don't think that the manager is the right manager. And at the end of the day, I mean, look, the way we saw it, Lampard took Chelsea and did amazing with them, but obviously he's not an elite manager, and eventually it showed. And then Tuchel came in and did amazing with pretty much the same Chelsea team.
Right.
So that's my arguments. He will do well, but he will probably do just either the expected level or underachieve a little bit. But it won't be obvious.
Okay. I mean, it's definitely a valid point. And obviously Tuchel has proven that he has the capability and the know-how to make that difference, right? So comparing the two is, it's there's no comparison, obviously. So we're kind of running out of time. I want to just touch up on something before we end, though. Moving into Juventus. So after that season, Haytham, I'm not making fun, no, honestly.
No, but what I wanted to say is that my club aren't signing anybody right now. Like, I'm just sitting here like all jealous listening to you guys.
So this is what I wanted to ask you. Very static off season for Juventus so far. Still a lot of uncertainty around Ronaldo. By the way, really unfairly left off the Euro team of the tournament. Really unfairly. Yeah, top scorer and left off. It blows my mind. But anyways.
I mean, he got knocked out pretty early. It makes sense.
Yeah, but so did other players. Anyways. So basically, Juve, very static offseason so far. A lot of uncertainty around Ronaldo. A little bit of drama also creeping in. Allegri already saying Bonucci's never going to get that armband unless he buys it and wears it in the street because he left AC Milan and came back. And so that like reset his time at the club. So he's no longer one of the longest serving members. So that's a little bit, if I was a Juventus fan, I'd be a little bit worried, especially after a season that was not considered a hugely successful season. So thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think he's just trying to reiterate or reinforce who's boss here. And just kind of respect my authority kind of thing, and just to remind Bonucci and remind everybody that I haven't forgotten the past, and just because I'm here on a new chapter, those of you old guys who remember me, I'm still the way I am, and the same rules kind of apply, I think. But I mean, I don't predict Bonucci is going to go to AC Milan or any club right now, but probably not going to get that captain's armband. Yeah. But what I'm worried about is, I'm seeing rumors about if we're not buying anyone, apart from the Manuel Locatelli saga, which has been ongoing for a few months now. They say we'll hear something next week because he returns to Sassuolo from his summer vacation on the 2nd of August, actually. So what's worrying me, however, is that if we get Locatelli, he'll be the first and last signing. That's number one. And number two, I'm seeing all of these youngsters, while they may have not been that impressive, but the names like Fagioli and Frabotta, for example, players that featured on and off with Pirlo, are getting loaned out. We've got Pellegrini back. He was kind of the replacement of Spinazzola. So he was loaned out, I forgot which guy, I think it was Genoa, but he's come back, or to Cagliari, I think. Anyhow, but yeah, other than that, it's been very quiet in the Juve camp. There's talk of bringing Miralem Pjanic on loan because Allegri loves that kind of player. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's trying to...
It seems.
Yeah, it seems, yeah. I mean, I don't know. At this rate, I don't know if Allegri is going to go, hey, Sammy, remember me? It's your old boy. Why don't you come back out of retirement? I mean... I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to make fun of it too much. I love Allegri. I think he's one of my favorite managers ever in Juventus history.
Sure about
I have
that?
a lot of yes, I am, and I respect him a lot.
There will probably be more of a starring role for Dybala as well in this
But
under our library.
yeah, absolutely, definitely. I look forward to it.
Oh, there you go.
Sorry, I just twisted my chair there. But yeah, I mean, if we're gonna keep those youngsters and see more of them, you know, and not buy anyone, then yeah, I don't mind. I'd love to see more of that. But if we're shipping them out and trying to get the Pjanics back and all of that, I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
And we have an aging backline too. So
yeah, look, on a closing note, there's still a couple weeks left of the transfer window. We always know that the last days are the ones where everything starts to take off. So I'm not going to put us on the spot like we always do and start doing predictions from now. Next episode, we're doing predictions.
We'll do that in the next episode.
For the leagues.
I'm not doing any predictions whatsoever.
But yeah, until then, we can sort of we can think about it properly and like try to like get it right this time. Cool stuff. All right, I think that's good for today, and it's good to be back, guys. So we're gonna keep it going, and next episode we'll have a lot more to talk about, I think. So keep tuning in to us. Keep hitting that subscribe button, and we'll see you all again very soon. Thank you, guys. Talk soon.
Take care.
Bye.